It's no secret that over the past few decades, Christianity has been in a rapid decline, especially here in the West. For some, that makes them very sad. For others, it makes them very happy. The purpose of today's video is not to choose either side, but simply to answer the question, why is this happening? Although Christianity didn't invent the moral principles presented in the Bible, the religion has had a major impact on the founding of our country. Its influence can be felt in many of our institutions today. Only 2 presidents in our history are labeled as non-Christian: Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson, both of which were heavily influenced by the church. Despite our last 29 leaders being Christians, this has not curbed the rapid decline of the faith. So what do people inside the church say about this decline? They believe that the rapid decline of the Christian faith can be attributed to how easy it is to become a Christian. Something that's easy to acquire just by professing your faith is just as easy to throw away. However, I don't think this is the true reason, because the criteria has always been the same throughout history for your admission into Christianity. Others instead take an aim at millennials, claiming that their quest and search for inner peace leads to a life that's purposeless and directionless.
What is happening? What is happening as this religion of self is growing in popularity? This belief system that emphasizes doing what feels good and only that which makes you happy and serves your purposes. Are we happier? According to Psychology Today, nearly a fifth of all millennials cite being depressed. Millennials seek psychotherapy more than any other generation. We are addicted to psychotherapy. This addiction to psychotherapy as a means to release some kind of inner power has gone off rails because millennials are so directionless and purposeless.
But I really believe they're missing the point. Here's the real reason why Christianity is failing here in the West, especially in the United States. The number one reason is science. Throughout the history of religion, faith shrinks every time science expands. First, it was God who moved the stars and controlled the climate. Now we know there's nothing supernatural about either of these phenomena. But this brings the question, why now? First, we have to understand what science helps us do. It gives us a method for proving whether or not something happened or did not happen to the best of our ability. And better yet, it can even predict things that will happen in the future. The issue here is that the church has taken science to prove that its faith is true, but that was never the original purpose or intent of religion in the first place. For the majority of religious history, their belief systems molded and changed as the adherents changed and faced new problems. However, I understand the appeal of such an ability as science provides us with. Why not prove that our faith is true? The issue is that the Bible, being pre-science, cannot possibly compete with the scientific mind of today. To further prove my point and show that I'm not just making this stuff up, I'm going to rely on 2 other people. The first is Friedrich Nietzsche. For this is the way in which religions are prone to die out. One begins apprehensively to defend the credibility of the myths, while at the same time one opposes any continuation of their natural vitality and growth. The next person I want to quote here is Jordan Peterson. Quote, "The future brings with it the unknown. Inflexibility and unwillingness to change therefore brings the certainty of extinction." Both of these individuals recognize that if faith is inflexible, it doesn't mold and change as people go and face new problems, it becomes brittle. That inflexibility is brittleness, and therefore results in the destruction of that belief system and its replacement with a new one. The church has done a great job over the past many centuries in holding together humanity. In a way, Christianity and other religions have been an antidote to chaos. They helped improve and reinforce proper mental health by improving our social lives, helping us release anger and frustration, and transferring our biggest unknowns onto a divine being. But Christianity's reluctance to change some of its core fundamental principles will result in its eventual downfall. Christianity is in a very tough position, and just because I'm advocating for its change doesn't mean that I don't recognize its importance. It will take the work of many generations to fix such an ingrained issue, if it can be fixed in the first place. If you enjoyed this video and want to see similar content, make sure and subscribe. I'm going to be diving deeper into Jordan Peterson and his perspectives on all this kind of stuff. And I think he has a lot to offer. He has a lot to bring to the table. We're going to be fleshing that all out in plain English, because he's sometimes very difficult to understand. Okay, now that all the religious fundamentalists and young earth creationists have clicked away from this video, let me share with you one more quote that absolutely drives this whole point home. This one's by my guy Jordan Peterson. This arrogant traditionalism masquerading as moral virtue is merely unexpressed fear of leaving the beaten path, of forging the new trail. The entirely comprehensible but nonetheless unforgivable shrinking from destiny has a consequence of lack of faith in personal ability and precisely equivalent fear of the unknown. Thank you.